Alrighty, so this is another first impressions video. This is going to be for Starfield on PC. And as always, this is just my opinion. People love getting, triggered because someone has an opinion. But, I'm going to say some pros, cons, and, that's just all it is. I've played for roughly 11 hours so far, and I've gotten basically a feel for what the rest of the game will be. There's really nothing else that can be gameplay wise unlocked that I can foresee, knowing Bethesda. But so I bought the premium digital edition, whatever, $100, just because I wanted to do early access. I wanted to get this video done. So this game is fun. I will say that. It's a fun game. Honestly, I don't think I've had any bugs or glitches, nothing. I know a few people have shown videos of like them having some slight problems, but I haven't had any. But one thing I will notice, and maybe I won't be the best at explaining this, but it feels heavily like Fallout 4 and Fallout 76. And what do I mean by that? And I know, other companies do the same thing. They just reuse the same engine, a lot of the same assets, stuff like that, which is true. I've complained from time to time again, like I'm not the biggest fan of Elden Ring. I like the Dark Souls series, but a lot of it I was like, it's truly for the most part copy and paste and just kind of redoing the same shit over and over again with enough changes that you could say it's different. But that's what people could say about this one too, is, well, it feels more the same with slight changes. But I feel like with this, it's a good change, but also not enough of a change, because I know this was their big IP that they wanted to work on, I believe, after Fallout 4. So they've had some time, and they've upgraded the engine, good for them. But I wonder when it gets to a point where it's like, okay, maybe we need to create something from the ground up or change it more extreme, because you play the game and all I can think is, well, the NPCs still look uncanny valley. Their facial animations look better, but they still do this wonky shit where their mouth is moving kind of weirdly slow, and their eyes will move around, or their eyes will just stare into your soul while their mouth is weirdly moving, or their head will just slowly start moving to the right while they're talking and looking at you. Just weird stuff like that where I'm like, okay, I feel like this is the same NPC animations from Fallout 4, which was almost 10 years ago. They reused a lot of the assets, because I noticed how you throw a grenade is the same, and the sound is the same. Not that that's a big deal, it's just funny. But I guess I was just kind of shocked how this game is supposed to be some next-gen experience, stuff like that, and it feels like a game that could have for surely been released on the PS4, like, 4 years ago or whatever. And I'm not saying that, that's super bad or anything. It's just, it's the classic overhyped Bethesda. And then it's like, yeah, it's a fun game, but stop acting like, can you just stop lying and just be somewhat genuine? But, yeah. On that end, it's like, okay, it's fun. It's a open world, space-themed game. There's 1,000 planets you can explore or whatever, which I saw a guy going through that, and I think technically, yeah, it's 1,000 there's some way on how you look at it. But the unfortunate thing is, and I guess it makes it more realistic, but a lot of things you have to think from perspective of like a video game or a movie, where it's, to some degree, you have to break realism to keep someone invested. What I mean by that is, like, on some planets you can, you can land wherever you want if there's not like a dedicated plate, like an outpost or whatever. You can land wherever you want, but it's just kind of like meh. But because I've been doing a lot of the space traveling, and I would say I think so far 5 planets that I've gone to in a row that had no like mission or anything. I was just like, ooh, let me explore. Or I'm sorry, they may have not have had a mission, but they had like a God, what would you call it? Like a mining facility, stuff like that. I walk in, the guy goes, "Thank God you're here. We're having problems with raiders. Can you help us?" Okay. You go to the next planet. "Thank God you're here. We're having problems with raiders. Can you help us?" Okay. You go to the third planet. One of our miners got lost in a cave. Can you go find them? Okay. Planet after that. One of our miners went missing in a cave. Can you go find them? Okay. You go to the 5th planet. "Thank God you're here. Pirates have been messing with..." It's like, okay. I'm getting the flashback of like Preston Garvey's settlement quest, where it's just I show up to a planet and I guess I can't say a lot of these planets, but the planets I've explored so far, it's like one main facility, and then it's just aimlessly walking around. And some don't even have anything for me to mine. It's just endless walking. But then it's just the same fetch quests over and over again. I was like, that's where we're going. Okay. But another thing with that is I had thought maybe you could unlock, I don't know, a motorcycle, hover bike, something, because you'll show up at this outpost and it's like, "Hey, we have a guy who went missing. Can you go find them at this cave that takes you fucking like 9 minutes to go fucking run?" Like, I'm sprinting and it takes that long. There's nothing, there's no enemies in between to kill, no scenery. It was just this fucking barren, gross planet. I was like, man, you literally have me just like running dead end. Not like, no, it's not Fallout where I can turn on the radio and the Pip-Boy and listen to some music or something. Nah, it's just aimless walking until I get to the checkpoint. And, most places that you've explored you can fast travel to, but you can't if that's your current mission you've never been to. I thought maybe I could get in my ship and could like fly around in the atmosphere on the planet and scan stuff and go land closer to objectives, but you can't do that. So that kind of threw me off guard. I was like, really? There's no like secondary like little craft that I could fly around in the atmosphere, so I'm not having to aimlessly walk around? That seems kind of really weird and kind of dumb, honestly. But then also when you're in space, I had thought, and mind you, this isn't really, I guess, on their fault, because I haven't personally watched a lot of the trailers, but I had thought you could basically fly your like you would have fuel, and I mean you kind of have fuel, but I thought you would be like in a solar system and could fly around to each planet, and really like that would be a whole nother thing. Like you're flying around a whole system looking for, I don't know, certain spaceships or whatever, but you basically fast travel to a planet and can fly around the planet's like designated space area, and if there's nothing there, you just cutscene fast travel to another planet. And so I was like, oh, okay, well, I don't know what they had promised fully on that, but I thought that there would be more to the spaceship traveling, because there's combat and stuff, and it's cool. It's a cool gimmick, like, oh, well, take power away from this and amp this up, and, how do you fight your way out of this and that? Cool. But it just feels, I don't know, limited, I guess. And I keep seeing people say, like, oh, well, the mods will make it better. It's like, well, it shouldn't need mods. Like, it should be a good game without mods. I don't know what this weird excuse is. For Skyrim, yes, when I play it now, I'll play it with some mods. because it's funny. But I mean, I didn't have a PC when that game came out. I played it on Xbox 360. I thought it was great by itself. And that, I'm not trying to, hardcore compare Skyrim to Starfield, because it's been quite some time and they're, two different games. But I don't think it's super excusable to say, oh, well, the mods will change this and the mods will do that. It's like, well, no, I mean, I paid for the base game. The game itself, like, come on now. So I don't know how many people will be super disappointed by it. I just was kind of like, well, why would I care to do so much for my ship where the only reason I really should is for personal choice to, oh, wow, my ship looks cool, and combat. Because there's no actual, like, oh, well, upgrade your ship so that, when you're flying in the atmosphere, you can do that, or, when you're flying to another planet, you can avoid whatever, a meteor storm, I don't know. Just things like that. I thought the space travel was going to be its whole nother thing that you're doing. Like, you're spending not half the game, but I thought a decent amount, like actually traveling through space in your ship, and that was going to be a whole part. And so it was definitely disappointing to know that that wasn't the case. But enough about that. The normal gameplay, like I said, it's if you play a Fallout 4, you're fine. This is the same thing. It's your standard Bethesda shooter game. There's definitely, there's cool weapons, cool weapon mods. I mean, it's very much like Fallout 4. I'm telling you, the weapon crafting, the ship building, you could almost say is like this settlement building a little bit. A lot of this game, already just came to me because I played Fallout 4 and Fallout 76 so much. I was like, oh shit. I mean, I guess that's one plus, is I basically didn't need a tutorial on that part. I mean, I did on how like in-game stuff functions that is new to the game. But besides that, I think most people playing Starfield are probably people who have played Fallout, so I think they'll be okay. But overall, and mind you, the mission designs do feel the same as other Bethesda stuff, but they seem to put a little bit more care in it, with like the writing and the dialogue actually feels, I don't want to just say good, but so like on point and believable and with extra care. Like every dialogue feels like they actually put care into it. So I do appreciate that. But that is gonna be roughly it. If I had to rate the game, which I don't really want to rate it till I beat it, but right now I would say 8 out of 10, I guess. And I know it sounds like I was just shitting on the whole game, but it's a fun game, I do like open world games. It's just nothing really to get, oh my god, like this is the next coming of Christ for video games. It's a fun game. I know it'll do good. I'm sure the DLC will be fun. The game itself is fun to play, So, I mean, there's this weird thing with it where you have you have the trolls, but then you also have people who are like, if you like anything Bethesda, fuck you. You're a sheep and an idiot. It's like, well, no. I mean, I can criticize them, but still find their games enjoyable. And then you have the other end that's like, everything from Bethesda is the best thing ever made, and if you disagree that this isn't a 10 out of 10, you're a fucking loser and you don't know anything about games. It's like, okay, well, I don't agree with that either. I think you can still criticize a game but like it and be an adult about it. So I don't know. I guess we'll see. I'm sure a lot of people will, not appreciate what I have to say. That's completely fine. You can let me know how I'm wrong, I guess. So I guess that'll be it for this video. As always, thank you for watching.